Yo, what's cracking, y'all? It's another episode of the podcast with Tigmatic, and we're here. Yes, I am on a bit earlier than usual, folks, and that is because we have a special guest today. I'm sorry, I'm a little out of it, but I want y'all to sit tight. My guest will be here soon. We start at 3 o'clock, but we will be here, and I will be talking with a dear friend of mine. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm a little out of it. The light is in my face, y'all. Let me dim it down some. You know, that's a little too bright for me. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, so like I was saying, a dear friend to me, you know, and he will be a dear friend to all, you know. I will be interviewing the one, the only presidential candidate for the United States, Dr. Cornel West. He is a legendary figure in the Black community, activist, author, doctor, and he's out here, man. He's out here. So sit tight. We will be here soon.
She didn't even dry yet. At the clay port, about to hop on that private jet. More Gucci than a tampon. If you in your deadline, real rap, Kanye lost his damn mind. Hustle hard, get that cake right. Maggiano's for dinner, that's a date night. About to get it in, you know about them date nights. Her money long like them Escalade brake lights. This is real rap, far from the movies. I need the real thing, need no groupies. All she won is a millio Gucci. I went to Saks Fifth and I bought all the Gucci's. I'm content, yeah, I fiend more. I used to have more hoes than the screen door. I was too on, I was too gone. I stayed woke like a parent with a newborn. Shout out to the ones that's incarcerated. I'm crazy, I should go get evaluated. I thank God, every day I made it. My hair pretty like me and Rick Fox related. Hustle with starve, yes, I'm fresh. Burberry Pico, Burberry scar. Clean, no slate, no drama, no scandals. High like the last key on the right side of the piano. The streets mad and real, and you won't see the flames. But I promise it's hot like a gas grill. I stay high like a gas bill. Still hungry, when I eat like it's my last meal. Still geeking off a last pill. Time to lift up a skirt and see how that ass feel. A lot of real estate bought for my last deal. Big house, a lot of acres out in Nashville. Well, South Philly, yes, we got one, Mr. Lamar, just playing with him. Uncle Charlie in the building, R.I.P. in the building, Caddy, yes sir.
If I kept a penny from every time you told a lie, I'd be rich. If there were no sunlight to wake me up in the morning and I miss my day, you'd be the one to blame. I spend almost every day with you and still feel lonely. Boy, I cook for you, clean up, rearrange the room, dressed up. You don't even notice. Feeling like you're always just a beat behind my heart. You never seem to pick up the pace. Am I just imagining you and I've never been? Don't tell me this is all in my head. I'm in love alone. I feel I'm in this thing on my own. You're standing right there, but you're oh so gone. Facing the fact I'm in love alone. If I kept a teardrop every time you made me cry, who'd survive? It seems like every day you're back and forth, you're in and out, we're going down. Love shouldn't be this way. My mind's playing tricks on me, writing scripts and shit, telling my heart don't believe what my conscience said. These ain't good butterflies, I'm angry, got me all anxious. I know I've wasted my time being patient. I'm feeling like you always just to be behind my heart. You never seem to pick up the pace. Am I just imagining you and I've never been? Don't tell me this is all in my head. I'm in love alone. I feel I'm in this thing on my own. You're standing right there, but you're oh so gone. Facing the fact I'm in love alone. In love alone. This is fool for you. Damn, I've been a fool so long. Felt you slip, band-aided it, then kept moving on. Mrs. Fool for you. Damn, I've been a fool so long. Felt you slip, band-aided it, then kept moving on. I'm in love alone. I feel I'm in this thing on my own. You're standing right there, but you're oh so gone. Facing the fact I'm in love alone. In love alone. I'm in love alone. I feel I'm in this thing on my own. You're standing right there, but you're oh so gone. Facing the fact I'm in love alone. In love alone.
We coming in from the door, man, on folks them. Y'all already know, cuz. Yeah, 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 hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, I rock out this.
Right, you can text something to me.
All right, folks. My guest is here a little bit early.
My
6
brother,
minutes early.
my brother, how you doing there, man?
Hey. Folks, like I said, the one, the only, Dr. Cornel West is here. How you doing today, brother?
Brother, it's a blessing to set eyes on you. I can see you strong today.
Yeah, I can see you too. How you
But
feeling?
God bless you and your loved ones, my brother.
God bless you. I'm happy that you're here today. And listen, it's been a while since we last saw each other, and people really enjoyed the interview. Now that you're here again, we have more to discuss and more to unpack. How's the campaign going?
Oh, brother, we trying to move to the finish line, holding the torch.
I hear that.
Be an example to the youth. Everybody don't have to sell out. You can go on and bear witness and be a witness for truth and justice and love. But everybody still, all of us are cracked vessels. We all fall short, though, brother. But we're trying to do the best we can, my brother. Very
That's a fact.
much so. But you're so kind to have me back, though, man.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're back. So, for those that don't know who you are, because a lot of the youth watch, and I tell people, I'm having Cornel West on. They're like, "Who's Cornel West?" Why don't you tell the people? Matter of fact, because listen, last time I gave you an introduction, people was on me like, "Oh, you was reading the big words, you didn't know what two of the words meant, right?" So they were grinding me up, right? They really were. They were grinding me up. So
no,
I figured, I write one in my own way, the way that I could do it best.
That's right.
And you tell me how you feel about it once I'm done, okay?
Oh, okay. That sounds good, my brother.
All right. Here we go. In the world of intellect and activism, Dr. Cornel West stands tall like a lyrical titan with a scholar's finesse and a poet's heart. Known for his firebrand style, his philosopher brings truth like a preacher from the pulpit, yet speaks the wisdom of the ages. Born in Tulsa and raised in Sacramento, he carved his path at Harvard and Princeton, mastering not just academia, but the art of speaking to the streets. Now, Dr. West has set his sights on the Oval Office, stepping up as a candidate for president, and he's shaking up the game with a message that's real, raw, and rooted in justice. With an arsenal of ideas that challenge, inspire, and unsettle, Dr. West takes on systemic justice, race relations, and the moral compass of America itself. His books, Race Matters and Democracy Matters, are blueprints for the socially conscious, unpacking the complexities of identity, oppression, and redemption. Now he's bringing that same fire to the campaign trail, demanding an America that uplifts the poor, the oppressed, and the marginalized. Whether he's on stage, the lecture hall, or marching in the streets, Dr. West keeps it real. Schooling the powerful, amplifying the unheard, and rallying for the people. A hip-hop beat to the scholarly scene, he's the philosopher who makes you think, makes you feel, and makes you wonder if he just might be the one to lead the nation into a new era of justice and compassion. Dr. Cornel West, the philosopher king of the people, running for president.
Wow, brother, you overwhelmed me, man. Lord have mercy.
So those are my words exactly, I wanted to take time and really think about what I wanted to say because, you are a man of history. I've been seeing you since I was a child. I'm 42 now, so since I was a young buck, I've been seeing you and watching you fight for our people. And, I said this before, but I had to say it in my own words this time. So I hope that was a good enough introduction.
Oh, brother, it was, I'm not worthy of that kind of powerful introduction. No, seriously, brother, you honor me. You honor my mama, Irene West. You honor my father, Clifton West, and brother Clifton, and two sisters, Cynthia and Cheryl. Man, it doesn't get no deeper than that. I aspire to what you said. But I tell you this, that's one of the most powerful, heartfelt, and soulful introductions I have ever received. And I'm 71 years old, my brother. I've been at it for a long time. I'm no spring chicken,
Yeah.
Lord. So I want to salute you though, brother. I really do though, man. It was beautiful.
I appreciate that. So let's talk about it a bit. Let's get into it before I get into my show is mental health based as well. So I'm going to throw some questions in about mental health as well as your run for presidency. Mental health is a thing that is important to me because I was diagnosed with PTSD. You already know that. I shared my story with you on what happened to me. So because of that, this was the premise of my show and it's, doing well. people like you is what make a difference to me. Because we need more people that fight for our people. And you have been in the forefront for the last 30 years of my life. So I've seen that, and I want to thank you personally for fighting for injustice of the people and of our people specifically, but all people. And it doesn't get any better than that. So with that being said, okay, I'm going to bounce around a bit. And I'm going to start, with my usual. Okay, so let's start with the political side first. What is your vision for America, and how do you plan to unite a deeply divided nation?
Well, first is, I think, my brother, is that we have to tell the truth about the country, past, present, and future. See, I think the best of America is found in the legacy of the Black freedom movement. It's found in the lives of Frederick Douglass, this sister here, Harriet Tubman.
Absolutely.
Of Ida B. Wells Barnett, of Ella Baker, Martin Luther King Jr., Fannie Lou Hamer, but also of Curtis Mayfield, also Aretha Franklin, also this brother John Coltrane. We can go on and on. We have to tell the truth about the country, accenting the best, but also the worst. Now, the worst of the country is what? Organized greed, weaponized hatred, routinized indifference to those who are catching hell, to the vulnerable, and it's white supremacy, it's predatory capitalism, it's genocide against indigenous people, taking land and killing babies and peoples. And we have to be able to somehow keep track of both the best and the worst in order to try to create a better future. That's why our campaign is called, dedicated to truth, the condition of truth, to allow suffering to speak. It's dedicated to justice. And justice is what love looks like in public, but justice has to do with fairness to those who, as you said quite eloquently, are marginalized and subjugated and degraded, no matter who they are. But I began with Black folk. That's mama, that's daddy, that's grandma, and ain't paying Uncle Earl and everybody. But it spills over to oppressed people, no matter where they are, no matter what state, no matter what nation in the world. And so when we say, well, what is the state of the nation? Ooh, right now, man, we living in a sick country, brother. Spiritually sick.
Right.
Greed, hatred, envy, domination, and indifference to other people's suffering. I mean, you got a genocide going on right now in Gaza that the United States enables and allows and condones, and you can't get a mumbling word out of the politicians even call it a genocide.
Right. And it is a lot of genocide going on in so many different places,
Sudan,
including, like you said, Palestine as well.
Absolutely. I mean, that's like lynching somebody and say, well, they suffer from discrimination. No, the brother's body is hanging from the tree. Black body swaying in the southern breeze, a strange fruit that the great Billie Holiday from Baltimore City sang about. You see what I mean? And
right.
Brother Maripol, the Jewish brother, writing the words that you have to be willing to tell the truth. And right now we're in a moment where the truth cannot find any footing. It can't gain any traction. There's too many lies everywhere.
Absolutely.
And the lies hide the crimes.
So how do you get people, with so many people in mental despair, right? That's why crime is going on. There's a lot of mental disparity going on. There's a lot of people just running rampant, and let's just call it what it is. How do you help? What is your plan to help treat those people, and how do you go about doing that?
You got to go straight to them, brother. You got to go straight to them. This last few days, man, I started the campaign in Mississippi because I believe Mississippi and South Carolina are the two ground zeros for the Black culture and Black freedom struggle. With the blues in Delta And then South Carolina, you know, James Brown from Barnwell, and we got Dizzy Gillespie and Eartha Kitt and Mary McLeod Bethune and Jesse Jackson. It goes on and on. That you got to go right where the people are. And I
Right.
was blessed to be there at Benedict College. I was blessed to be there at the House of Prayer for All People. I was blessed to be there at Morris College in Sumter, South Carolina. I was blessed to be there on the ground with the brothers and sisters in the barbershops. And there you're able to skip the media, skip over all of the various stereotypes and lies, and connect directly with the rich humanity and dignity of the people. And I've tried to do that, you know, for the last 17 months. I've been at this for 17 months now. That's a long time, man.
Yeah, I would agree.
Especially at my age of 71, man. That's a long time. But it's been a beautiful thing, though, brother. Beautiful thing to meet everyday people on the ground. Not so much running as a candidate, because, you know, I'm running for president, yes, but I'm really running for justice.
Right. And that's very important, because you want people to feel that you're more for them and not just about being a politician.
That's exactly.
And, you know, right now we have a lot of, you know, people running for president, and one is more polished to be a politician than the other. You know, we know what the other is. But I think that, you know, I feel I won't say what I think. I'll say what I see. Mm-hmm. This is what I see. Sure I see that the media is only covering the two major sides, but not the other sides. Why do you think that is?
Well, because
could you explain that to the people a bit?
Right. Yeah, explain. That's very important. I appreciate you raising that question, because, see, the media itself is an extension of the big money that the politicians themselves are extensions of. You see, when you look at the Republican Party and look at the Democratic Party, they both are tied to big money, billionaires, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, big tech, and then the big defense industries that are tied to Pentagon and the State Department. 62 cents for every $1 in discretionary budget of the Congress goes to the military, though. Mm. 62 cents. That's why we don't have enough money for education and healthcare and safe communities and quality education, but we always have enough money for the weapons, trillions of dollars when they go to war, billions of dollars when they need military.
But not enough money to feed the people and make sure everyone is economically straight.
Absolutely. You got 62% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, and almost 80% of Black folk living paycheck to paycheck. So that what happens is that the media is a corporate media, so that they are in cahoots with the money that they need to make, because they're in it for a profit. And the media is just like any other market. They got to make sure they keep their markets in place, keep their eyeballs, their ratings, their revenues. And the politicians are the same way. You can't run for office unless you have big money. Now, I didn't have big money. We ran out of cash a long time ago, but we never run out of gas. We got spiritual and moral gas that will take us to the grave. But of course, we didn't have any money. Democratic Party raised $1 billion in 1 quarter. Republicans raised $700 million in 1 quarter. We raised $1 million the whole campaign. They said, West, how you going with 1 million? Well, you know, we got some magnificent volunteers, and coming from a Black people who do much with little.
That's right.
We had to find a way.
Black people like this one right here.
That's exactly. Well, you know how blessed I am to be here, and I've been over.
It's an honor to have you, sir. You know, like I said, I enjoy talking to you. I've been watching you my whole life, and you know, one thing that I see all the time is, like, every time you're on CNN, they really try to, like, rush you off. Yeah. And it really like cleans my clock. I'm really irritated at it, because they'll try to do one or two things. These are the things that I see every time you're on CNN. They'll either try to cut you off while you're talking, or they'll try to have someone on there to debate and argue with you the whole time. And even then, you're still showing them love and humility. So, you know, I felt like it was essential to have you on. And even if it wasn't an agenda, whether it is or isn't, for me right now to have you on to talk to the people is more important so they can hear you and understand where you're coming from. Which leads to my next question.
In the world, and that's why I deeply appreciate you, though, brother. Definitely.
All day. Anytime you need to come on and anything, you're more than welcome.
No, you're
so,
very kind.
My next question for you is: how do you intend to address systemic racism and equality in policies related to education, health care, and criminal justice?
Well, one thing is the only way you deal with a vicious legacy of white supremacy is you make it a priority. Now, when you tell the truth about the vicious legacy of white supremacy, you end up demanding reparations, because there's no way you can understand America without understanding the economic foundation of America, which was white supremacist slavery. And that slavery was never ever compensated, never ever given, black people were never compensated for that coerced and free labor. And the same was true under Jim Crow, the same is true under redlining, all the various ways in which black people paid taxes but could never go to public universities, public colleges, so that the money going into those universities, black folk could never benefit from. And that's just one small example. You got a whole host of others as well. So that reparations becomes very important, not in terms of some kind of punitive response to white supremacy, but because the truth and justice that is required in coming to terms with any form of domination requires repairing what was damaged. And that's what reparations is. It is the repairing of various kinds of damage done. So that's the beginning. The second thing is that black people must have economic empowerment. That's why I run a program of abolition, abolishing poverty, abolishing homelessness. Right now, I'm in LA. I was just at Skid Row. 40,000 brothers and sisters of all colors in Skid Row, 45% black. LA is only 9% black as a city.
So that's more black people that's homeless than anything else over there.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this question.
Mass incarceration, right? Mass incarceration, almost 45% black, 12% of the population in the nation. So if you're going to deal with white supremacy and racism, you have to make it a priority. And when you make it a priority, then reparations and poverty and homelessness and Medicare for all, which is free education, safe communities. You don't have police brutalizing and murdering black people disproportionately. You have to make it a priority.
I agree. And I remember the last time that you were on, you said also, a check. So here's the question that one person told me to ask, and I'm going to ask.
Sure.
I was working the polls, I was supposed to be there today, but I knew this interview was coming, so it was more important to me. I'll be honest.
Well, that's kind of you. That's kind of you.
But I'll be right back at the polls tomorrow. But now the question is, what does that dollar amount look like for each Black American in reparations?
Well, actually, when you look at the scholarship that has been done, I'm thinking of the work of William Degarty and our dear sister who co-wrote the book with him, that they came up with $258,000 for every Black person. $258,000 for every Black person, and it's a question of having a fair and legitimate process to determine. And so it could be between $200,000 350,000. We just don't know. But we know that it is substantive and is tied to a serious issue. But the name of the book is called From Here to Equality. That's what it's called. From Here to Equality. I know my wife has it here somewhere. I wish I could show it to you. Here it is, my brother. I want everybody to see this. The sister's name is Kirsten Mullen. But you see this book right here? From Here to Equality,
Yes, sir.
Reparations for Black Americans in the 21st Century. And the name, you can see the name there, William Darity and Kirsten Mullen. Now, this is a very important starting point. This is a book that all of those persons who are concerned about reparations, my dear sister Yvette and brother Antonio of ADOS, uses this text as one of their starting points. And this is true for other reparation organizations as well. But all of the voices calling for reparations are voices that I stand alongside with, because it's a starting point. Now, keep in mind now, brother, you know and I know that we can never, ever be able to pay and repay the bones at the body of the Atlantic Ocean of those precious Africans who didn't make the voyage.
Absolutely.
There's
And
hundreds of thousands of them, you see.
so what?
Same is true for those who were lynched. Same is true for those who were raped and so forth. So that there is also a spiritual and a psychic dimension here when we're talking about the vicious legacy of white supremacy. And that's not solely about money. That's about self-respect. It's about self-love. It's about self-trust, self-regard, self-esteem. And those are something that we have to do, not just for ourselves, but with ourselves.
That's right. So with this number that you guys came up with, right? Do you think it is a start, or what will it do for the African American community? Like break that down a bit. Like what is the actual synopsis and plan for that?
Well, one is that it would provide very needed financial and economic resources so that people would be able to live lives of decency and dignity. Now, at the same time, as you and I know, Black folk have to be ready to receive it in such a way that we're able to create lives that are sustaining over time. You can't just get money and spend it in a matter of months and still be as broke as the 10 Commandments as you were before. But that's what I mean.
That was going to make me ask you. That was going to make me ask you, giving, a whole bunch of folks that type of money without any type of classes on how to really keep that type of money.
Yes.
That would definitely be a reckoning. So do you intend to do anything like that?
Well, I would never force or coerce Black people to do anything. I mean, I'm a Christian. I'm not going to coerce folks to follow Jesus, No.
Right.
I just want my light to shine so that they think I got something that might be useful to them. I tried him and he's all right. You tried.
We can't force them, but make it available.
That's
more
it. But it would have to be both by example, and also it would have to be one in which people, maybe for the first time, would have large amounts of resources and would be able to have access to certain kind of financial reflection as to how best to sustain yourself and your loved ones over time. So you present options and alternatives. Again, we're not dictating to nobody. See, I don't believe in Pied Pipers. I'm a jazz man. The jazz man doesn't believe in everybody follow me. No. Coltrane said, look, Sonny Rollins, Coleman Hawkins, Ben Webster, They blowing the same instrument I am. Go check them out. They sound good. I'm trying to get my sound together. He don't want everybody to come to his concert and nobody goes. No, I'm learning from the others. And the anthem of Black people, as we talked about last time, is lift every voice. It's not
That's
just
right.
I lift my voice and you follow me and everybody else is an echo. No. In lifting every voice, you want everybody to think for themselves, love for themselves, laugh for themselves, live for themselves and others. But that does require a maturity. And the only way you mature is by listening and learning from others who themselves have matured.
Right.
That's why he listened to Charlie Parker. You see what I mean?
Right.
That's why Aretha Franklin listened to Marion Williams. That's why Luther Vandross was listening to Eddie Kendricks and Russell Tompkins Jr. singing lead for the Stylistic, or Ted Mills singing lead for the Blue Magic. That these are folk who have proven themselves to be great voices. Let me learn from these voices.
Right. So let me ask you this. How do you think your emotional state affects your creative output to become a leader, to run for president or even run the country?
Oh,
because I think this thing is important.
It is very important. You see, emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, the kind of thing you have the courage and the kind of thing you have the compassion to focus on, which is how do we deal with our inside dynamics? What's happening in our hearts, in our minds, in our souls, and how is that reflected in our actions and our deeds? And we Black folk, we have always been a spiritual people. We've always been a people that had to come to terms with our passions, our emotions, as well as our intellect, as well as our character. And character, I'm talking about integrity, honesty, decency, compassion, and service to others. And so I love what you've always made the connection. And we talked about this before. You got to connect the spiritual and the social, the personal and the political, the emotional and the economic. They all go together. If you don't have a holistic program, you're going to end up with folk who are making a lot of money who are emotionally backwards.
That's right. And you don't want people to be emotionally backwards. So that's why, I feel as though that, people have to have their mental in check first, because even receiving this type of money or anything like that, they would have to be able to be stable enough to, keep it. Because without being stable, the same thing will just happen that happened to those that got, some sort of reparations before they squandered it all.
Exactly right. But you see, two of the main reasons why people often are emotionally crisis ridden is, one, they don't have enough love, and two, they don't have enough money. You have to fight on both fronts. And one could argue that we Black folk, for 400 years, when the first dignified African got off to that barbaric slave ship and was taken to the slave auction and on to the slave plantation, we ended up with not enough self-love and too much poverty. Too much poverty, not enough self-love. You got to have love and you got to have some money. If you have money with no love, you're going to be a zombie. If you got all the love in the world with no money, you're still going to be broke.
Right.
Financially. You're not going to be broke spiritually now.
But yeah, I got you. So my next question is about climate change. Okay. So what steps will you take to combat climate change and promote sustainable practices?
Well, one thing is that I would call for an emergency and have a civic oversight over fossil fuel companies. Fossil fuel companies in some ways are like tobacco companies in the past. that they will do anything for short-term profit. They will even lie about the impact that they're having on the planet in order for them to make big money. And fossil fuels are the major sources of the climate crisis leading toward climate catastrophe. The major institutions that are tied to fossil fuels actually are militaries. And the U.S. military spends more money than the next 7 countries combined. But it's not just military. It's tied, as we know, to the various industries of coal and gas and oil. And so there has to be a shift to renewable and regenerative forms of energy as opposed to just extractive forms of energy. And we've got a lot of scholarship on this. There's a whole lot of experts, black, white, red, and yellow, coming up with ways in which we can generate energy without having to engage in that raw extraction linked to simply short-term profit and acting as if chickens won't come home to roost.
Right.
You reap what you sow, my brother. Sooner or later, nature is going to speak back, and it's going
to take its course, whether we want it to or not.
You see it with all the hurricanes and tornadoes and escalating floods and
absolutely. And I was a victim of Hurricane Matthew in 2016 when it happened. You know, my wife and I, we moved down to North Carolina, and we lost our first home and car to the hurricane. You know, we from Philadelphia, so we kind of took it like, like, oh, hurricane, it's just a little bit of rain, because that's what we're used to up north. And it was the rain deal, Wow,
I know what you mean. You see what's happening down in Florida all the time.
Absolutely.
Every 2 weeks or so. No, my dear brother Tavis Smiley just is embarked on a magnificent project connecting ecological justice to racial justice. And you remember he had a wonderful C-SPAN State of the Black Union on that last June, on Juneteenth. But we need more people who are conscious of the connection between racial justice and ecological justice.
All right. So the next question is on education.
Mm-hmm.
How do you plan to reform the education system to ensure equal access and quality for all students, especially now with, a lot of history is, being removed from school? Do you plan to reinstate these things that got taken out? And what's your plan?
Well, one is that you have to look at best practices in education. And then you have to ensure that precious poor children, precious poor Black children, have the exact same access to education as very rich children, who are disproportionately rich white children. Let's just look at what happens in education when it comes to the well-to-do. I have been able to teach at Harvard, Yale, Princeton. I've seen folk coming in from the various high schools and prep schools and private schools. Well, what do they have in those schools? They have 14 students in every class, and they have 2 teachers. They have the best technology, and the students are told every day, you're brilliant. Even if you're not, they're told, you're brilliant. You're brilliant. Now, can you imagine?
So basically, class is over crammed, and the best schools is not over crammed, and they have just what they need to succeed.
And so you got teachers that are telling the kids every day, I believe in you. I believe in you. I know how brilliant you can be. I know your sense of possibility. If we had in the hood classrooms with all the available technology, 14 students in every room, 2 teachers who believe, care, trying to uplift the students every day, brother, it would be an educational renaissance going on.
Oh man, that sounds awesome. I actually like that idea. I like the thought of, making the classroom smaller, because for one, for the teachers, they have 30 students to look after. They can't watch everything 30 kids are doing at once. So it makes their job a lot easier.
We had 42 in Glen Elder on the chocolate side of Sacramento, 42 students in every class. And, you know, I'm running wild, and Ricky Peoples running wild, and Roosevelt running wild, and Linda Knox, God bless her, she trying to make sure that the brother ain't messing with her. It was a challenge. Let me put it that way. It was a challenge, though, brother.
Yeah. So I can imagine. So that's a smart way to, you know, make things a lot easier for teachers. What about teacher pay? What is your plan on paying the teachers?
Teacher salaries have to be much higher than they are now. You are absolutely right. And so often in the capitalist society, the salary of someone reflects the value of someone for that society. So if you end up with somebody making, you know, $1 million, and all they doing is just in some casino, all they doing is sitting there in the Wall Street, or sitting there at the stock market, then you're saying that person has more value to the society than a hardworking woman or man teacher.
And it should be equal. So I get that.
It's reflect the value of that person's job in the society. They're the caretakers of the future with our precious young people.
Absolutely. You know, I just had an educator, Davita Woodard. She teaches elementary, and she talks about the mental state of a lot of these children, especially in, you know, our community, which is considered the urban community.
Right.
You know, a lot of the kids, you know, they have, you know, issues at home and things like that. So what programs do you plan to instill for the, you know, the poor and impoverished neighborhoods and communities? Because we hear a lot of the candidates talk about the middle class, the middle class, the middle class, the middle class. What about the low income people? What do you plan to do for them?
Well, first, again, you've got to make them a priority, and it's reflected in the language that you use. You are so absolutely right, my brother. If you listen to the main candidates, they don't say a mumbling word about precious poor people. They hardly say a mumbling word about working poor and working people. They talk about middle class, and both of them are tied, billions of dollars on both sides, to the ruling classes, to the wealthy classes, to the rich classes. So they are going to get the priority. And in foreign policy, you know, they're going to be tied to Israel. They're going to be tied to AFRICOM. They're going to be tied to all of the various institutions that are standing in the way of the freedom and liberation of those who they are colonizing, of those who they are subjugating and dominating. So that the question becomes, how do you ensure that, for me as a Christian, that 25th chapter of Matthew that we talk about, what you do to the least of these. It doesn't say what you do to the middle class. It doesn't say what you do to the ruling class. The Bible says what you do to the least of these, you do unto me.
You do unto me. That's right.
He's make sure. I want to see what you did for those in prison. Most of the folk in prison are what? Poor people.
Poor people, yeah.
You got spiritual wickedness in high places. That 6th chapter of Ephesians. People understand you got gangsters on Wall Street. You got gangsters in corporate America, but the gangsters don't go to jail. They can commit all kind of crimes, but they don't go to jail. When you got poor people who commit various kind of petty crimes, they go straight to jail. Well, that shows again that there's twisted priorities in the society, and my campaign is really all about how do we keep alive the greatest tradition in the modern world, which is the Black freedom struggle.
Absolutely.
And Black music is the greatest expression of that, and that's the greatest tradition in the modern world of creativity and fortitude and courage. The rest of the world takes notice of it, but you see, our politicians, my brother, Man, they are a joke in the face of our musicians.
So do you
Because our
think they're
musicians,
exploiting our musicians just to gain votes?
oh, good God, our musicians get mobilized because they got the genius and the talents. They get mobilized by politicians, just like they get mobilized by the recording industry and the owners, the oligarchs and the owners in the recording industry. They get exploited and so forth. But we always have some musicians like Curtis Mayfield, like Gil Scott Heron, like Nina Simone, like John Coltrane, like Yusuf Lateef. We can go on and on, Mary Lou Williams. These folk are radical folk. They say, you know what? We know we are part of a great Black musical tradition, but you're not just going to mobilize us and use us. No, we want to be associated with those who are trying to empower poor and working people. Now, those are the great musicians who are politically awakened.
What do you say to those that say they took God out of school and that's why school is the way it is now?
Well, the problem is, though, brothers, that even when God was being prayed to in the 1950s, you still had Jim Crow, you still had Jane Crow, you still had lynching, you still had hatred, you still had greed. So it's not that simple. It's not just a matter of putting God in. What needs to be put in is courage, compassion, and focus on poor people. Now, see, that has never been in the schools in the history of America. That's always come from outside because the schools themselves were in place in order to reproduce the status quo.
Right.
So that, I mean, Curtis Mayfield dropped out of school in 8th grade. He didn't need to go to school to sing the truth. Now he's a genius. So he ain't, he ain't no ordinary brother. But a whole lot, James Brown, folk didn't have to go to school. Miles Davis dropped out of Juilliard. James Baldwin never went to college, but a college went through him. Malcolm X never went to college, but a college went through him. Education is something that you have to gain access to by tremendous sacrifice and labor. You can get it in school, but as Carter Woodson said in 1933, his classic The Miseducation of the Negro, you can get a lot of Black folk who get education and still get miseducated.
That's right.
You can get other folk who never go to school who get a deep education. Now, I think it's a good idea to go to school in general, but just be mindful of the fact that you don't want to be miseducated, and be mindful of the fact that there's a whole lot of genius like Louis Armstrong and Mahalia Jackson who never went to those schools, and you got a whole lot to learn from them.
Absolutely. So that was a great segment on education, and I thank you for dropping those jewels because I agree with you. I think that the biggest part of this country that's lacking right now is education, because we are a country that is behind in education, but we act like we're the greatest country in the world when there's so many other countries that are way more educated than we are. So my next question is healthcare. Mm-hmm. What is your stance on healthcare reform, and do you support a universal healthcare system?
Absolutely. One of the reasons why I was behind my dear brother Bernie Sanders in 2016 and 20 was because he understood that not only had a critique of Wall Street greed, but he understood that Medicare for all was a starting point for any serious civilized society. People must have access to Medicare without it being a matter of money and how much money or which particular job they have, because Medicare is associated with your job and employment. And so many other countries, of course, have Medicare for all. The United States does not, because of organized greed, because of pharmaceutical companies that pay politicians to make sure that politicians don't vote for universal health care. 73%, some of the polls say, some of them say it's higher, 73% of American citizens want health care for all. But when it comes to Congress, it's stopped. How come? Because those politicians are paid off by the pharmaceutical companies, and you got doctors and American Medical Association and others who want their salaries to be as high as they can get rather than quality of service for the people that they're serving. And so Medicare for all is a starting point. Now it comes to black folk, I think we need more than that. We need healthcare justice too, because we black folk, we have particular diseases that other members
Mental
of the
diseases too.
society don't have, from sickle cell physically to psychological.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which was going to lead to my question. Could you just for a second discuss any personal struggles or anxieties that you had as an activist, as an author, as a professor, and as a presidential candidate throughout the course of the years of your life? Could you give the people just something enough to inspire them to understand why you have become the person that you have become and why you continue to fight till this day?
Well, that's a wonderful question, though, brother. I'd have to kind of pray on that, though. You know?
Yeah, we didn't gotta dig too deep because we ain't gotta dig too deep, but just
I love the dialogue with you, brother. I love the dialogues with you, though, man. No, that for me, it's the important thing is that you want to be true to your calling. And God gives all of us various gifts, and we have to cultivate those gifts. And when you cultivate those gifts, you do it not so that people can see the gifts that you have, but so that you can give those gifts to others to help somebody to try to enhance their situation and empower them. Now, when you cultivate your gifts and try to tell certain truths, you will get in trouble. So oftentimes people say, well, you want to speak the truth to power, spiritual wickedness in high places. Yes, but you also want to speak to power. You want to speak to your own community. Might not have a lot of power, but they still need to hear the truth. And you got to speak the truth to yourself. So you got three fronts. Speak the truth to power at the top. Speak the truth to the black community, of which there's very few of us at the top. And if we are at the top, we just a black face in a high place because the forces behind that face are much more powerful than the face itself.
Sure.
Then we got to speak the truth to ourselves. So that means then you think, for example, somebody like Martin Luther King Jr. When Martin Luther King Jr. died, 75% of white Americans were against him, and 51% of black people said they didn't agree with him. 51%.
Right.
Did
you know him?
No, I never met him. I heard him once when I was 10 at the Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento, but I never met him, Because see, he dead in 68 and I born in 53, so I was 14 when he was shot. But I saw him at 10 now. I'll never forget that. I was 10 years old. Mom and Dad took us to Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento to see him. But here's somebody who's loving black people so intensely, going to jail 31 times. They beat him down. Then they finally shoot him down. And 1 out of 2 black folk still don't approve of him. How come? Well, he came out against the war in Vietnam. That meant he was un-American. He wasn't patriotic. And so many black folk at that time were real flag wavers. Then at the same time, he's trying to organize poor people across the board, no matter what color they were. So they're thinking, well, now he's not really just with the black community. Now he's talking about Vietnam. Now he's talking about class and poor people and poverty, the kind of thing Brother William Barber's been spending his life, dedicating his life to. So you say to yourself, and I think we've noted this before, my brother, that all of us who attempt to tell the truth on all 3 levels, the power that be, the black community, and ourselves, that we are not doing that in order to gain popularity. That's not what it's about. Integrity and popularity are not the same thing at all. You do it because it's right and you are called to do it. So you don't love black people in order for black people to love you back.
That's right.
Quid pro quo. This is not transactional.
That's right.
Not utilitarian. This is because black people are worthy of being loved, whether they agree with you or not. So black folks come
Absolutely.
up to me and say, "Oh, Brother West, you always talking about poor people and Gaza and genocide in Gaza and so forth." And we notice that you never win in office. Well, it ain't a question of just winning in that narrow sense. I'm winning every day if I'm preserving my integrity, honesty, and dignity. I'm winning every day if I'm
That's a
holding
fact.
up the torch of the great Black freedom struggle that goes back 400 years in this hemisphere and thousands of years on the continent. So there's different conceptions of what it is to win. The question is to bear witness and be a witness. And so what I've had to come to terms with in my own life is to recognize that, I say to myself, Brother Corn, this is not about popularity now, brother. Don't think that that somehow, because you're trying to be true to yourself, that somehow people are going to embrace you. It's like Sam Cooke, Curtis Mayfield, Sly Stone, never won a Grammy. Milli Vanilli won 2. What does that mean? Sam Cooke wasn't singing to win a Grammy. He lives in the hearts and
That's a
minds of
great
all.
analogy there. I like what you did there, sir.
You see what I'm saying? Sly Stone didn't do what he did to win a Grammy. He
Right.
lives in the hearts and minds of each and every one of us. His music, he's still alive, but his music does. And Curtis Mayfield, if he didn't win a Grammy, they should have shut the whole Grammy operation down from my point of view. Good God Almighty. But he didn't make his music to win a Grammy. John Coltrane never won no Grammy. He wasn't concerned about no Grammy.
That's right.
No, that's not that kind of white approval, popularity, somehow making you a superstar. No, you want a star. It's something that shines in the hearts and minds of other people.
Right, I agree.
A great song on that called Stars that he had me on. I was very blessed to be on, but he made the same great insight.
So let me ask you this question. How was your mental health being in the spotlight? Because you've been in the spotlight for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
How do you handle the pressures of that? I know that could be difficult at times, especially being a married man, and having children as well, right? You're a father as well. So
absolutely. I got 2 wonderful ones. I got
that's right.
Thing. But one is
how do you handle all of that?
It's my faith, my Christian faith is very important. You see, it provides a conception of what it means to be human. So I'm never surprised by evil. I'm never paralyzed by despair. I go up on the mountaintop. I go down in the valley. And of course, that faith is inseparable from family. See, that Irene and Cliff and my family, I've got so much love and have had so much love. And the same is true in terms of my personal life. So that my own gangster that I have inside of me is kept under control. You see, I was a gangster before I met Jesus. Now I'm a redeemed sinner with gangster proclivities. So that my gangster proclivities are under control, and nothing but the Holy Ghost holding me together. Nothing but grandma's prayers holding me together. Nothing but mom and dad's love holding me together. Nothing but my wife, my children, and my friend holding me together. But also the kind of interactions with you, brother. High quality brother like you.
I appreciate that.
It's true. It lifts my soul. You know what I mean?
I
leave this
appreciate that.
Fortitude, man. Fortified that I got equipment when I leave this interview, because I feel as if we're able to revel in each other's humanity, empower each other, learn from each other, have a sense of humor, sense of humility, sense of humanity with each other. Shoot, we could just sing a song, do a little Sam and Dave. Why? Because it's just a continuous thing.
And you know what's crazy is, Brother West, is, I took a sound bite from our last interview when you were singing, and you was like, boom, boom, boom. I'm talking back about black farmers. I put that out there, and people was loving it. Like, yo, Cornel West is really down to earth. And I said, yeah, as long as you're down to earth and you keep it funky with him, he will do the same. you know. And this is black media, so he feels more at home on black media. Like, let's be real, you know.
Absolutely.
So that's something that I take pride in, and to hear you say those words to me, I kindly appreciate them. I thank you very much, because I'm just trying to bring about some awareness and change myself. I thank the Lord for being able to meet you, Dr. Abdullah, Baba Achille, everybody, Terry as well. You know, starting a chapter down here, BLM down here. I'm honored to do that. And, you know, this is going to bring about so much change in my life, because as a man who is a reformed street guy myself, you know, I'm trying to change and do things better for the empowerment of our people as well. And that's what I care for. But not just my people, all people. I want to see a change in everyone, everywhere, because that's what God says. We are to help each other and bring more souls to him. You know, and what better way to do it by trying to create something that can cause change?
Absolutely. So, and just being an example, being a sermon rather than having to give a sermon, you know?
Absolutely. So my next question is on foreign policy. How do you envision America's role in the world, especially regarding military intervention and diplomacy?
Well, you know, my dear sister Melina, who I salute, of course, that my wife and I decided to extend the invitation to her and say we're going to put a smile on Fannie Lou Hamer's face by choosing our dear sister Melina Abdullah. It was acknowledging the intimate connection between domestic policy and foreign policy, that Fannie Lou Hamer and Martin Luther King Jr. opposed the war in Vietnam. They opposed the colonialism in Africa and in Asia. They opposed U.S. interventions in Latin America because U.S. militarism. Remember, Martin said it was militarism, racism, poverty, and materialism that was sucking all of the best out of America. And so U.S. foreign policy is militaristic and imperialistic. And so one of the reasons why I talk about Gaza so much, you figure it's 20,000 precious children killed in a matter of months. Man. That's a level of barbarity and bestiality is hard to conceive of.
Yeah, to hear that definitely was cringe right now for me. I'll be honest, you know, to hear 20,000 kids was killed, and they're just becoming spoils of war. Is definitely sad and disheartening within itself.
Absolutely.
You know, my heart goes out to the families of those that lost children, or even, you know, the whole family, because the whole family could have been together and they all could have died with their kids.
Well, you had almost 45,000 people as a whole, and you got 20,000 children. Now, if those children were European, white, or Israeli, the U.S. government would have the opposite response. They would come to their defense immediately. But them being Palestinians, they could be Africans. They could be Muslims. No, because those lives don't count for the U.S. government elites, you see. So they see it's happening right now.
Absolutely.
It's going on this very moment. Do you hear any references of the politicians for the most part? No. And we simply say that those babies count. Their lives matter. Well, U.S. foreign policy is an imperial policy, a militaristic policy that allows for those lives to not count. And yet what does count is resources. They want access to the resources, oil and so forth. What counts is U.S. power. So it's geopolitical power, so they can move our ships anywhere we want and still have collaborators and allies. And therefore, my campaign is an anti-militaristic campaign. I want to head the empire in order to dismantle the empire. And how do you dismantle the empire? You disinvest in military and you reinvest in satisfying people's needs. So the United States military could make it based on 25, 30% of the money we spend on the military right now. We spend about $1.3 trillion every year. But we do that because we want
a lot that could be going to the homeless too. I gotta say that, you know,
education, the homeless, poor, across the board.
Absolutely. So my next question to you is about civil liberties.
Yes, yes.
In light of recent surveillance and privacy concerns, how will you protect civil liberties while ensuring national security?
Well, one, I was just with my dear brother, Chairman O'Malley. We had a wonderful dialogue at the National Black Radical Convention with Charles and Inez Barron and brother colleague Raheem. And of course, civil liberties have been violated systematically for Black freedom fighters, usually under surveillance. We know that with COINTELPRO, with Martin and Malcolm and Black Panther Party, Nation of Islam, and so forth. We know, in fact, that the repression and even the incarceration and assassination, Fred Hampton and others killed by police, killed by FBI agents and what have you, goes hand in hand with any time you tell the truth about America. So that's another way your spirit has to be intact, though, brother. When you raise up publicly and bring a critique to bear on TV or radio systematically year after year, your soul's got to be intact because you got to get ready to die. That's why I put my cemetery clothes on every day. I'm coffin ready. I understand the consequences of my calling. You know what I mean? Ain't no doubt about that. Like I say, I'm just in the hands of the Lord. I'm bearing witness, and the rest is in the Lord's hands.
And I appreciate that you still here through all these years of fighting for our people. Were there ever attempts on your life doing what you do?
Lord, yes. Oh, absolutely, man. I've had people put a gun to my wife's head with a mask on. I had people in shotguns in my driveway. I had to shift from living in a house in order to live in a hotel with 24/7. When I was in Boston, oh no, I've had that all the time. And you can imagine this campaign I won't even go into. We've asked for Secret Service protection on a number of occasions, and they kind of looked at us and probably just started laughing like, oh Lord, have mercy. Oh Lord. But no, I got the Holy Ghost. Jesus built a fence all around me. I come out of Shiloh Baptist Church, though, brother. And even if they do kill me, my spirit still goes on, you know.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
The thing is, you can't be afraid. You see, I'd rather be a corpse than a coward. I'd rather be dead than afraid. I'm not going to be running around here scared and intimidated and laughing when it ain't funny and scratching when it don't itch. No, I'm not that kind of black man.
Right. And, you know, for me to be shot in the head, I got shot in the head, right? So the second time around, a gun got put in my face, I kind of was like, just shoot me then. And that person looked at me like I was crazy. Looked at me like I was crazy. And then backed off, you know, and I was with some friends, you know, long story short, that guy was running like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Lord have mercy.
But, you know, I understand that, you know, because my belief in God, I live without fear. And I get to, you know, what you're saying. So I say that to say that that's why that was the way it was. So
365 times in the Bibles, be not afraid.
That's right.
That's two of the features of not just the Christian, but also of the Muslim, and also of a serious believer in Judaism. Two features should always be: they're not afraid, they're full of joy and love.
Kingdom of Signs says the chickens will come home to roost. She also says, awesome. Speak truth to power.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, man. I think that I love the fact that you're fearless in that sense, because to be a president, you have to feel that way and live that way and have faith that is so strong that no matter how many tests come your way, you won't break, budge, or fold. And
exactly right. You don't want
to in my opinion.
You don't want to give up. You never give up. You never cave in. You never sell out. But most importantly, you keep the love and justice at the center. You see, every great leader ought to be a great lover of the people.
All right, I got 4 more questions.
Oh, is that right?
before we
Okay,
go.
I'm gonna let you go because I got another Zoom here, though, brother. But right on.
All right,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, let's get these out the way real quick
Right
because I
on.
know you got another one coming. Okay. Youth engagement. How do you plan to engage young voters and address issues that are particularly important to them?
Yes. Ooh, it's very important. We was wrestling with this at Morris College in Sumter, South Carolina, just 3 days ago. One is that you have to make sure that you listen to their voices. You get inside of their skin. You walk a mile in their shoes, and you try to make sure that they are both psychologically healthy, that they are materially healthy, which means that they have access to resources, but also they must be exposed to the greatness of their tradition. See, we don't have enough young Black people who understand the greatness of the Black tradition.
Or the Black vote.
And the vote is just the voice, and the voice is part of the greatness, because the vote can go a lot of different directions. The vote's got to be informed by a deep concern for justice, right?
Right.
And part of the problem is we live in a system where young people are not encouraged to be connected to the greatness of Black history. They're encouraged to be connected to the pleasure of the present.
Right. I agree with you. Okay. So here's my next question to you. Okay. Bipartisanship. Given the current political climate, how do you plan to work across party lines to achieve your goals?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a tough one, brother, because I'm cutting against the grain because I'm going against both parties and because I'm going against the system as a whole. It means it's going to be very disruptive.
Yes. And I feel like you've come to shock the world. Absolutely.
Oh, it's gonna be a shaking up of the world. Muhammad Ali said, "I shook up the world." How come? Because I'm a free Black man, and nobody thought that I could do what I could do, but I believed in myself, and my God believed in me. And watch me. Now
Right.
again, that's greatness. You know, I don't come close to that, but I know what greatness is.
Right. So I feel like your greatness, and this is why I'll say that. You got to be a bad man if people want to take you off a ballot.
Ooh.
They feel threatened.
That's a good
So
point.
let's talk about that real quick before I get into the next question.
Yeah, we've had parties, Democratic parties spent millions of dollars. We went to the Supreme Court in Georgia, went to the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania, went to the courts in North Carolina to get me pushed off the ballot. I was pushed off the ballot, as you know, in Georgia. I was pushed off the ballot in Pennsylvania. We won the court case in North Carolina. We kept going back and forth, but they know they know a threat, and partly, see, they think that I'm taking votes away from Sister Harris, and I'm not really at all, because most of the people who will vote for me would never vote for any two-party candidate, never.
Right.
And most of the people who vote for me either don't vote at all. 40% of Americans don't vote. Over 80 million people in the country who could vote don't vote.
That's a fact.
But when I go to them and they say, "Oh Lord, I like what you're saying. This is kind of interesting. This is so different than what we heard." And they know, because I got a strong spiritual and moral dimension to what I'm saying, that it's not just politics. Power is important. You got to disrupt power. It's not just only about power. Or if it is about power, it's also about spiritual power. It's also about moral power, in addition to political power and economic power. And so in that sense, you are absolutely right. I would be cutting so radically against the grain that if I would not be able to do anything without a strong movement, brother. People mobilize outside of the political system.
So what was that like to have to fight to get your name back on the ballot?
Yeah, we were swinging like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, brother. James Foreman too, Mike Tyson too. We were swinging, and we were getting hit too. There ain't no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But you fight the good fight. You know what I mean? You do all you can. That's the thing.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right, last I got two more questions. These are the last two.
Sure enough.
How will you address cultural and social issues that often polarize Americans?
What one thing is that you want people to know first that I have no monopoly on the truth. So you got to come in the spirit of humility, man.
Right.
And if that's true, then they have no monopoly on the truth. So they got to become more humble. And the only way you deal with polarization is you get people to see that they might be wrong. Once people acknowledge that they might be wrong, their arrogance level goes down. But the only way you do that is you acknowledge that in yourself. If I come in thinking that I know everything and I'm on top of everything, then that kind of arrogance reinforces their arrogance and you clash. Boom. Tense. But if you come in saying, how's your mama and how's your daddy and them doing? And I'm interested in you as a human being, and I know that you got shortcomings and I got shortcomings and I got blind spots and you got blind spots, then you got a possibility of a conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you with that wholeheartedly because that's definitely necessary. So you definitely hit the nail on the coffin with that one. So here's my last and final question, okay?
Sure enough.
How do you view the role of grassroots activism in shaping your policies? Now, I have a feeling how you're going to answer, but I don't. But I know about grassroots because I'm a part of grassroots. Yeah. So let's hear your answer, sir.
No, I appreciate it. Well, of course, I salute you and all of the grassroots activists that know you, listen to you, will get to know you, because grassroots activism is where it's at. That is
absolutely.
There is no politics without grassroots activism. There's no such thing as a politician of any quality without grassroots activism. If you don't have grassroots activism, your politicians will be locked in to legalize bribery and normalize corruption because there's no accountability. And if you don't have accountability to the people, there's a few saints out there, but most people are going to drift into the corruption. They'll drift into the corruption, brother.
Absolutely.
When they drift into the corruption for Black folk, what does that mean? That means that you are being invited on the plantation.
Hey.
Give you some big carrots and some golden cuffs and a lot of status, but not a whole lot of power. And as long as you own that plantation, then like my dear sister right here, Harriet Tubman, what she say? Black folk confuse moving up on the plantation with being on the Underground Railroad. See, the Underground Railroad is taking you to freedom.
That's
you go up on the plantation and you think you somebody now. You're still on the plantation. You still got a plantation mentality and sensibility, and you still are accountable to the boss.
That's right. That's right. And if the mentality doesn't change, then that won't help anything.
And grassroots activism helps you break the plantation mentality.
That's right.
That's it. But I'm looking at a brother who broke the plantation mentality as a grassroots activist. That's what's so beautiful about it. You know what I mean?
I'm all for our people, Doc. I'm all for our people.
Oh, Lord,
the betterment of our people, the betterment of this country. A lot needs to change in order. A lot of healing needs to go on as well.
Oh,
and the only way we can do that is if we come together, but also acknowledge the ugly truths about this country. That's the only way I can put it. You know what I'm saying? So I want to thank you for coming on. Last but not least, tell the people why they should vote for Dr. Cornel West November 5th. Well, it's early voting now, but
we got about 44,000.
Y'all can go out there early and hit the polls now, but the actual day is November 5th. So
November the 5th.
Tell the people.
All I'm saying is, if you want to be true, to the best of a great Black people who generated levels of commitment to truth, justice, and love and integrity, honesty, and dignity, then you can raise your voice and vote for Cornel West and Melina Abdullah.
Absolutely. Shout out to Dr. Melina Abdullah, aka Doc Melly Bell on Instagram, y'all.
Indeed,
Follow Dr. West on and Brother Cornel West on Instagram as well, y'all.
Lord,
Dr. West.
But God bless you, brother. Salute
I
you,
want to
man.
say thank you. I want to say thank you for taking the time to come out and do this interview with me again, and having you on the pot again was definitely awesome. It was a pleasure. And I know that you're very busy. You know, what's the next date?
Well, next day I'm here in California, and so I'll be here until the end. I'll be here until the end. Yeah, just a few days now, as you know. Just a few days. And I'm here too with my sister. She's been a little sick, and so the family to me is very, very important. That's very, very crucial. And I also like what you said though about serving the people and loving the people. You know, a lot of people think, well, if people don't vote for me, it's not like I don't love them. You see, I don't demonize people who I disagree with. You know, people in, you know what I mean? People in swing states say, oh, Brother West, I love you, but I'm going to vote for Sister Harris. Well, I take a stand here. If you think critically for yourself and you take a stand, then you're going to take a stand. I'm still love you. We just disagree.
That's right.
And we end up working together maybe on other issues, but I'm not going to stop talking about genocide. I'm not going to stop talking about mass incarceration. I'm not going to start talking about poverty no matter what, because that's my cause. So it's not as if everybody who has to be embraced by me will vote for me. No. The kind of love I try to enact spills over across the board, though, brother. Definitely.
Oh, man, like I said, it was an honor to have you on. And I'm thankful that you are here and that you came on the show and you showed love and you spoke to the people so elegantly like you always do. So, you know, for me, it was awesome. So thank you for this interview. Thank you for your time. And I wish you nothing but the best and success in everything you do, including this presidency. People, get out there and vote. Y'all know what it is. Y'all heard it from the man, the myth, the legend himself, the Honorable Dr. Cornel West. And listen, get ready for the election. Y'all should be ready already if you're not ready. You know, y'all know what's going on, and we all see what's going on. So, Brother West, thank you for coming on yet again. And listen, anytime you want to come on, you're more than welcome. I'll probably just call you and just say, hey, you want to come on? And you'll do what you always do. Indeed, my brother.
You just let me know, and I salute you. Love you, and God bless you and your loved ones.
Love
man.
you too, man. God bless.
Definitely. All right, though, brother. I'm gonna go run this next thing. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take good
You
care.
have a good one.
All right. God bless you.
All right.
Right on.
All right, folks. Here we have it. We had Dr. West on. Okay. Dr. West is gone. Folks, we had the doc on. Y'all know what it is. You know what I'm saying? We had the doc on. He was on. He spoke what he had to do. He did what he had to do. And it was awesome that he was here. So, folks, when you get the chance, go back and watch this interview. He gave some very important information. And listen, get out there and vote. Those in the North Carolina area, Robeson County area, you can go to the Board of Elections or anywhere, you know, that's close to in your area where you can vote. But get out there and vote. This was a special edition of the Podcast with Tigmatic. And I'm going to hit y'all off with one more song before I go. All right? Peace.
you for joining us, and wonderful, wonderful audience we have here today. Now, we have Grandma Diva, who has a message for her dear granddaughter Promise, and she wants Promise to understand what she's trying to say. You know the motto that we always tell people as, we're the elders. You do as we say, not as what we did. Don't follow our mistakes. We don't want you to make the same mistakes that we made. So guess what? Promise is going to have an exercise, and that exercise will be for her to write a song. And believe it or not, Promise has chosen to write a song on how he slid. He slid. That is what she wants to talk about. Woo! He's I am his side. You know what? You need to go to church instead of putting yourself in comparing yourself with some turkey chicken. Talking about you all this. He ain't want what he had at home. Promise I ain't raised you like know you ain't raised me like that. But he wanted all of this, Grandma. He gonna have to come I see can't me. Help it. If she couldn't take care of her man at home, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Ain't got nothing to do. It got nothing to do with me. It got nothing to do with me, Grandma. Damn fool. Because somebody said something. You know what? We was all the victims. She come on this show and she bop. We was the victims. He was saying that. But Promise ain't no victim. She not. You out here comparing yourself to a Zack and some goddamn chicken tenders at Popeyes. I ain't some 2-piece, 4-piece. Come in, slid. You know what? You need to go to church. Come in, instead of put yourself, Grandmama, in You want to slide?
Yeah.
So I can climb the beanstalk. I might let you slide. His home was broke up. His home was already over. Everything was out of the way when I met him. I didn't come in and tear the shit up. I ain't tear it up. It ain't my fault. Anybody tell him to allow his tallywag. He should have just told the truth to all the women and let them make a decision. But see, then He had done got caught up with this one, that one, this one, that one, da. Yeah, he got caught up with all of them. And then at that point, they all made a decision. Some wanted to stay, some wanted to leave. Some wanted to stay, some wanted to leave. I chose to stay. He chose. That's what it is. He chose. Bottom line, you happy? I'm happy. He slid, your man slid.
All right, folks. Y'all know what it is. I will see y'all the next episode. Keep it locked. Keep it right. Always be positive. Have a good night. You dig?